What's going on, Luke? How are you? How you feeling after last night, bud?
Feeling good about the Blue Jays, that's for sure.
Nah,
Uh,
why
What?
wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
a little bit of a mixed bag with the Leafs, but a win's a win. So a great night for Toronto sports fans, to be sure. But I thought it was a really nice touch, actually, that the game ops played, went to the Blue Jays game in both the first and the second intermission, and then invited the hockey fans to stick around and watch the end of the Jays game on the Jumbotron. It's a small thing, but a big thing. And, I think the Jays run has really kind of gotten the Leafs' attention. They all went to that game two, over the weekend as a group. And I think they got a little taste of what the city can be like when you have a winning team that goes deep in the playoffs.
Deep in the playoffs. It's
Hey, Final
deep in
Four.
It's a
the
conference
playoffs.
Final
conference
Four.
final.
Yeah.
Hey, I do like it. And I'm excited for them too. That is a nice touch. I mean, if it was the reverse side and Toronto was going to the Eastern Conference Finals and everyone at the Jays game, I know the seasons might not line up exactly, but the whole Rogers Center stayed around to watch the hockey game. It would be pretty awesome. So I'm glad it's the reverse side there. But you mentioned you weren't totally thrilled about the Maple Leafs win there. Obviously, they got 2 points, did their job. But what did you see overall with the opening night?
It was a little sloppy. I think Montreal probably had the better run of play for the first two periods. But the Maple Leafs have, in my mind, the better goalie. And I also think they have more game breakers. And I think it's really encouraging that one of those game breakers on night one was Morgan Rielly. He was phenomenal. He led the whole game in shot attempts. He got a goal, including the winner, and an assist, some key blocks. He was all over the place. And he was just pinching. He was up in the play. He was playing confident. And I think that bodes well for a bounce back season, bodes well for the Maple Leafs, who have really struggled last season under Berube to get much offense from the back end. And when you think about offense from the back end, it starts with Morgan Rielly. You're hoping maybe OEL gets some of that going as well, but it starts with him. So I think it was phenomenal. The other two positives for me were Bobby McMahon and Kelly Yarncroc. And these were guys that ended last season in 20 plus game goal slumps. Each of them, they were non-factors in the playoffs for me, and for them to not only get on the board, score on opening night, but also play effective and be noticeable towards the end of the game. Berube was bumping Yarncroc up on Matthews' line for some defense because he trusts him defensively. I thought those were really positives, but the first couple of periods, there was some sloppy passing, a little too east-west, some neutral zone turnovers that led the Montreal to have a ton of zone time. So there's definitely stuff to clean up. Power play was awful too, guys.
Oh, don't even start with the power play. But I want to get your thought on the top line, because it seems like the soap opera is underway where it just feels like Michelli is not going to be that fit, or Berube doesn't think as high as other players right now when it comes to that slot alongside Matthews and Nyes. What was your read on that last night? Because we saw Domi take a spin. Michelli played the majority of the game. We saw Yarncroc. How would you read that situation right now?
Work in progress, Nick, and it probably is going to stay a work in progress for a long time. I think the camp, it was uneven. The grand plan was to have Domi start there. And it was kind of funny that one injury to Scott Lawton ended up changing pretty much all the lines except for the second line of McMahon, Tavares, Nylander. All the other lines got juggled due to one injury. And so Domi comes off. He drops down to a third line that, based on him and Robertson having flashes of success last season. Michelli gets this great gift where, he was scratched at times last season, got traded. Utah just was ready to part ways with him. All of a sudden, he starts on Matthews' wing in the old Marner spot. Like, what an opportunity. And he did make some nice passes. I don't think he had a horrible game by any means, but I still think he needs to earn the trust of the coaching staff, particularly defensively. The chemistry with Matthews isn't quite there yet. I don't think it's going to happen overnight, guys. I think we're going to see a few people get a little tryout in that role. And I'm not sure where it ultimately settles. We might be to the point where, the trade deadline rolls around and they're still looking for a solution there.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, that's the nature of the game when you bring in that many new guys and you're looking for the formula. But something that we are used to that they have been through and is not new is that dog shit power play. Like, it's not the personnel. You've got power play specialists out there. What is going on? Do you just have to blow up the system and the structure of what they're doing? Because, like, we can't keep watching that.
Yeah, it was a rough watch. And the last year when the power play clicked at its best is when they went to the unconventional 5 forward unit. And I don't foresee them doing that. I think it was purely based on the fact that Marner is the rare forward who can run point on a power play and facilitate. So what they're trying to do, because watching them practice almost every day, is Berube's harping on them to get a shot right away. He wants them not to dust off the puck, make a ton of passes. He wants it to be more direct. As soon as you see a lane, no matter who it is, shoot it. And then hopefully it creates chaos, a rebound, a tip, those type of goals. I wonder though if they're not. I know defenses will key in on Matthews, but he's your goal scorer. He's your sniper. Why are they not revolving it a little bit more around him? Washington revolved their power play around Alex Ovechkin for years and years and years. And even though, the other team's PK knew it was coming, they still couldn't stop it. I wonder if he needs to be even more of a focal point now that Marner's gone, and try to get that shot off a little more frequently.
We talked about it earlier on. I think Rosie made the point, like Willie Nylander, not one of his better games. Maybe he's caught in the clouds of his new YouTube channel, but still finishes the night with a goal and 2 assists. Is that just Willie? I mean, we all know at some point in time he's going to elevate, but I didn't think he was great last night.
I didn't think he was either. And yet, his line, I think it was 9-3. They outshot Montreal when they were on the ice, and Willie gets an assist. He gets the empty netter, so he's feeling good. His stats look good. But there was times where I felt like I was watching preseason Willie. Like there was some shifts, particularly when he didn't have the puck, where he looked a little bit disinterested. And I think you can look at that two ways. In one way, it's a testament to his skill, where even on a night where he doesn't look like he's really going or doesn't really have it, he finishes with 3 points and some positive metrics. On the flip side, you want to see a little bit more. There always not always, but last night in particular, and even through the preseason, you just feel like there's another gear that he's waiting to unleash. And I'm sure it'll come around. It's just kind of you got to ride the wave with Nylander. Sometimes he's on it. Sometimes he's not as much.
That is true. I want to ask a sensitive situation, and I've kind of been griping with how much to go into it. But is there any inkling on anything to do with Joseph Waller? Is that just completely shut down and mum's the word?
Yeah, whenever you talk to anyone around the Leafs about it, they shut you down pretty quick. And it's as a journalist, trying to cover the team, it's kind of a delicate balance, because you definitely want to respect the player, and if something is going on in his personal life, you don't want to pry too deeply. On the flip side of that coin is, what if Anthony Solars gets injured? I think there's 3 back-to-backs this month. What if, Caden Primo looks very average to poor, and he's posting save percentages that begin with an 8? It's a major storyline that could affect the team. And we've been given 0 timeline for his return. Obviously something he's working through, and we've been in the room. His equipment's there, just sitting there in his stall. So it's not like his stall has been removed. But is he even on the ice? I don't think so. If he is, he's using a different set of equipment. And you miss training camp, you miss the beginning of the season. If and when he does come back, how sharp is he going to be? So Stolarz was fantastic last night. Stolarz is really gearing up to hopefully play more starts than he ever has in his whole career. But we're talking about a guy that's never played as many as 40 games. They're going to need another goalie and probably a third goalie to step up. And without Joseph Woll, it's a massive question mark. Massive question mark.
Yeah, it just feels like one day we're going to get a press release. Joseph Woll is back with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I mean, nobody's going to ask any questions, just going to move on with life. But on Caden Primo, I thought that was intriguing. I mean, if you were to ask me 4 days ago, like who the backup is to start the year, I'm like, well, either Hildeby or maybe Reimer. But is it your sense that Caden Primo, you referenced those 3 back-to-backs here in a very home-laden first month of the season. Is your sense that Primo is going to get one of those starts Monday or Tuesday? I know they got Nashville Tuesday night and a rare Canadian Thanksgiving Monday where they're going to start in the afternoon against Detroit at home.
Yeah, I mean, my guess might be the Monday game. Just try to give Stolarz an extra day rest. I would assume Stolarz starts Saturday in Detroit. But, you know, the sense I have is just because Primo's the backup right now doesn't mean that they won't throw Hildeby a start in here. I think they're going to take it day by day. And if Primo looks good in the first back-to-back, you know, looks solid, maybe he gets the next one. But if he looks shaky, maybe they do a recall and give Hildeby a look. I think they want to get him some action, but they don't want to rely solely on Hildeby. And because he doesn't require waivers, he can go up and down as often as they please. The other thing is they'd rather have Caden Primo sitting on the bench, getting his toes cold, than Hildeby. They want him working with the Marlies. They want him getting reps. They want him being a focal point. And I think it's smart. I think they're smart to take their time. Goalies tend to peak later than skaters. So why not give Hildeby a ton of work down in the farm? And then if you need him, you need him.
Yeah, and last for me with a prospect as well, I don't think that they keep Easton Cowan on this roster to put him in the press box, but opening night scratch to me was more indicative of what he had to go through with the whole waiver deal, and not him on waivers, but going to the Marlies and the whole shuffle around to get your roster finalized. What do you think the future holds for him? Is he going to get in some games and stick with the team, or what do you think their plan is if you're hearing anything?
Yeah, he's going to get in some games for sure. I mean, there's no sense bringing him up just to have him sit there. I think part of that last night was a function of the Marlies season hasn't started yet. So they want this guy playing, but he can't play down on the farm anyway. And I think they see value in just having him around the big club, just watching what a guy like John Tavares does on game day, watching what Austin Matthews does at practice, like little things like that. They want him in the environment because they see him as an important cog of their future plans. I think he'll get up to, 9 games and then they'll have a decision to make. And maybe those aren't 9 games in a row. And to my earlier point about Calle Järnkrok made it pretty hard to take that guy out of the lineup. So who's he taking out? Maybe it's Nick Robertson. Maybe they give Järnkrok another crack at it Saturday night. But the first forward that kind of looks a little off, you got a guy over your shoulder in Easton Cowan that's ready to go. So I think they give him a look. I think it'll be kind of similar to the Fraser Minten thing a couple years back. I think Minten ended up getting 4 games before they said, you know what, he's probably better down in the AHL. I think they're going to give him some runway. The coach absolutely loves the kid, and then make a decision based on his performance. If he sticks with the big club, or if he goes down and plays top 6 minutes, power play, all the good stuff down in the American League.
Internal competition. Here we go. Foxy, great stuff. Thank you so much for your time today.
Awesome. Have a good rest of the show, guys. Go Jays.
Thanks, Foxy.
Thank you. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.